Good afternoon. I'm Renee Zerna, and I am your Mesa field rep. Today, I am going to be reviewing the medical plan options that you have available to select from during open enrollment. And I will start out by talking about the medical portion of the plans, and then I will move into the prescription coverage for each of the plans. I will share my screen and show you the medical plan comparison document. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. So here are the 5 medical plan options that you have available to select from. Now, your current prescription coverage, so the Saver RX and ABC RX, which have been around for a couple of decades, those 2 prescription plans are being retired at the end of the year. So we worked with the business office and who worked with the union to decide what plan changes you wanted to make and also which prescription coverage to offer with each plan. So I'm going to be going from left to right, talking about first about the choices plans and then about the 3 ABC plan options that you have. So on the far left, you have our Mesa Choices plan with a $500 individual deductible and $1,000 family deductible. Now, there are a couple differences between the Choices plan and the ABC plans, and that is a result of IRS rules. So the first difference is that with the Choices plan, each family member has their own deductible. So if you were to meet your $500 deductible, then after that, you would only be paying the copays for your medical services or your prescriptions. And other family members would then satisfy the other $1,000. So each family member has their own deductible, which on this first plan is $500 a piece with a maximum of $1,000 for the family. Or if you're on the second plan, it would be $1,000 each with a maximum family deductible of $2,000. Versus if you are enrolled in one of the plans with a health savings account, the IRS does not permit us to separate out individual deductibles. So if you are on the first ABC Plan 1, if you have single coverage only, your deductible will be $1,700. But if you cover at least 2 people, then the family deductible is $3,400. That whole deductible has to be met before Mesa can pay anything. The deductible could be met by one individual in the family, or it could be divided amongst other family members. The second difference is that with the Choices plan, you are always just paying a copay for your prescriptions. So depending on if it is a generic, brand name, or specialty, you're always just paying a copay. If you are on a plan with a health savings account, the IRS requires that medication has to be applied to the deductible as well. So, for example, if the retail cost for your medication is $400, when you fill that prescription, say you fill it in January and you have not met your deductible, you will pay the full $400 for that medication, which then gets applied to your deductible. After you have met your deductible, then you would switch over to paying the appropriate copay for your medication. So those are the 2 biggest differences between the Choices plans and the ABC plan. When you are on the first Choices plan here, as I mentioned, you have a much lower deductible. And then after you meet your deductible, you will just pay the copays, depending on if it's an office visit, urgent care, or ER. You have the same copays if you are on the second Choices plan. It's just the deductible for that second Choices plan is higher. Now, you are only going to pay your copays either for medical services or for prescriptions until you reach the total out-of-pocket maximum. And again, these out-of-pocket maximums are separated out per individual family member. So let's say, for example, you have met your deductible, and then you just have lots of office visits and ER visits and prescriptions that you have to fill throughout the year. If you were to pay another $3,000 towards those copays, then after that, all your medical services would be covered 100%. Your other family members might still have deductible expense or copays, but yours would be covered 100%. And that's the same with the Next Choices plan, but you will see that the out-of-pocket max is a little bit higher to reflect the higher deductible. Now, when you are enrolled in the Mesa ABC Plan 1, this first one in the blue column, after you meet your deductible, then you pay nothing for medical services for the rest of the year. And that is true with both of these ABC plans, both ABC 1 and ABC 2. So once you have met your deductible, all your medical services are covered at 100%, and the only thing that you pay for after that are prescription copays. And once again, if you have a lot of prescriptions and you're paying a lot in copays, there is an out-of-pocket maximum on those. So if you were to reach $7,400, so that would be an additional $4,000 after meeting your deductible, then all medical services, all prescriptions are free for the rest of the family if you are on this ABC 1. And then you'll see with ABC 2, the out-of-pocket maximum for a single person is $4,000. And for someone with two-person or family coverage, that would be $8,000. So again, the only difference between these two ABC plans is the size of the deductible. Now, if you are on ABC Plan 1 right now, you may notice that the deductible is showing a little bit higher for 2026, and that's because the IRS has once again increased that minimum deductible. So the minimum deductible for HSA eligible plans is $1,700 for a single person or $3,400 if you have family coverage. Now the last plan, this ABC 2.5, this is our newest plan. The deductible is a little bit higher yet, so $2,500 if you have single-only coverage or $5,000 if you have family coverage. Now, after you meet the deductible on this plan, if you have any medical services, then there is still some cost share. So you would pay 10% for each of those medical visits, and Mesa would pay 90%. But again, that is only up to reaching the total out-of-pocket maximum. Now, one thing that I do want to specify with all of the plans, your preventive care is free. So your annual checkups, your flu shots, well child visits, mammograms, if you're 45 and due for your first colonoscopy, that is considered a preventive visit. And those are covered at no cost to you. So you never have to pay towards your deductible, or you're never paying coinsurance for anything that is considered preventive care. Now, the other thing that is unique about the ABC 2.5 plans is that each year, if the IRS increases the minimum deductible, then the deductible here for the ABC 2.5 will go up by the same amount. So for example, if the IRS increases the minimum deductible for 2027 and they increase it by $50 for singles and $100 for families, then the new deductible for ABC 2.5 will be $2,550 and then $6,000. Or I'm sorry, $5,100, because it'll go up by $100. So that's just something that's unique just to 2.5. So again, just like ABC 1, if you're enrolled in this higher deductible $2,500 plan, When the IRS increases the deductible, this plan's deductible will increase by that same amount. All right, so as we scroll down to look at the coverages, what you can see is that across the board, the coverage is exactly the same for all the plans. So all the plans have the same number of chiropractic visits. Therapeutic massage at the chiropractor is covered. You have the same number of visits for physical, occupational, and speech therapy. Bariatric surgery, acupuncture, and hearing aids is covered under all the plans. So the only difference is how much you're paying towards your deductible, as well as if you're enrolled in this last plan, you would share in some cost share for those if you've met your deductible. So before I move on to talk about the prescription coverage, do we have any questions about the medical portion? Okay, so as we move to the second page, so as I mentioned, the Saver RX and ABC RX are being retired at the end of this year. And so we had to select different prescription options for your medical plans. So the first four plans here have all the same prescription coverage. So our three-tier prescription coverage is on the first four plans. It's only the last plan, the ABC 2.5, that has different prescription coverage, which is the 5-tier. So as we look at generics, generics are by far the majority of the medications that are filled at any given school district. So all generics will have the same $10 copay that you're paying now. So most generics now have a $10 copay. That will be the same with any plan that you're on. So even if you're enrolled in the plan with the 5-tier, all generic medications have a maximum copay of $10 per month. If you're enrolled in one of our ABC plans, we also have an extensive list of free preventive medications. So these treat conditions such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol. There are some prenatal vitamins, as well as oral contraceptives, and a few breast cancer prevention and weight loss medications. So if you're taking any of those specific medications that are on the list, those are actually free if you're on the ABC plan. So you would pay nothing towards your deductible and you would not pay a copay for those meds. If you're interested in finding out what specific medications are on that free list, you can find the list on the MESA website at mesa.org under the plans and services and then ABC plan. So when you're looking at the ABC plan, you will see free preventive medications, and you can click on the link, which will provide you the list of all of those meds. So again, most people are taking generic medications. All generic medications have a maximum copay of $10. Now, for the 3-tier prescription coverage, when we get into non-generic medications, so those are brand name medications and specialty medications. Specialty medications are the ones that are treating a lot of the autoimmune diseases, and a lot of them are what you see advertised on TV. You have to get a specialty medication from the Walgreens specialty pharmacy. So you are not able to get those like through OptumRx or, from CVS. They have to come from the Walgreens specialty pharmacy. So if you're taking a specialty med or a brand name medication, those are separated into two categories. They are either preferred or non-preferred. So the preferred medications will have a maximum copay of $80 per month. So let's say, for example, your medication costs $300 a month. Your copay would be 20% of that, so it would be $60. However, if you're taking one of the really expensive medications, the ones that run in the $1,500, $2,000 a month, you're not going to pay 20% of that. The maximum that you pay for a preferred medication is $80. And if it is a non-preferred medication, your maximum copay is $100. Now, you can find which category your medication is in a couple different ways. So you can either contact our member service center, and when we're done here, I will stop sharing and then I will put their phone number in the chat. But if you call our member service center and provide them the names of your medications, they will be able to tell you whether or not it is a preferred or a non-preferred medication. We also have the lists posted on the MESA website. So again, if you go to mesa.org, under Plans and Services and Prescriptions, you will find the list of covered medications on 3-tier, as well as the list of covered medications on 5-tier. The easiest way to sort through that list is there is a magnifying glass at the top of the page that you can click on, or you can do Control F, type in the name of your medication, and it will take you right to that page, and you'll be able to see if your medication is considered preferred or non-preferred. So that is how the copays for the 3-tier prescription coverage work. If you're on the last plan and you have the 5-tier prescription coverage, with this particular plan, specialty meds are separated out into their own category. Because these medications are so expensive, they usually only make up less than 5% of the total prescriptions that are filled at a particular school district, but they account for between 60 and 70% of what is being spent on medications. So they're very, very expensive medications. So they have been separated out into their own category. So if you are taking a brand name medication, if it is preferred, then your copay is still $40, which is what you pay now. If it is non-preferred, then you would have an $80 copay. But if you are on this plan and you have a specialty medication, again, you will pay 20% of the cost of that, but up to a maximum amount. So the maximum amount for preferred medications that are specialty would be $150. And if they are non-preferred, the maximum copay is $300 for that medication. The other thing is that the 5-tier prescription coverage is a little bit more restrictive. So there is a certain category of medications that are excluded. In other words, any lifestyle medications such as weight loss medication, ED meds, infertility meds. So those would not be covered at all under the 5-tier prescription card. Additionally, let's see, I mentioned infertility. I guess that's it. So just those 3 categories: weight loss, infertility, and ED. Then if there is, let's say you're taking a brand name medication, and there is a generic equivalent, then the brand name medication would not be covered. So again, it is a bit more restrictive on 5-tier. So you'll just want to make sure that number one, any meds that you're taking are covered, and you'll want to double check to see, what category your specialty medications are in case you're, taking one of those non-preferred specialties because it has such a high copay per month. All right, so then really the only other difference is that with the three-tier prescription coverage, if you're getting a 90-day supply, there is a little bit of a discount. So let's say you're taking a generic med, you get a 90-day supply, you would pay $25 for that 90-day supply. Whereas if you're on the five-tier prescription, there is no discount for a 90-day supply. So if it is a generic med, it's $10 a month. Your total copay cost will be $30 for a 90-day supply. The last thing I want to mention is there may be some individuals who are taking over-the-counter medication for seasonal allergies or possibly for acid reflux. And if you're getting a prescription for those, getting them through the pharmacy and only paying a $10 copay, those will no longer be covered under either prescription plans. So anything that you can get over the counter, you would just have to go pick out the bottle or the box of medication, the over-the-counter medication. They will not be covered by the prescription plan. If you are enrolled in an ABC plan, you can use your health savings account to pay for those over-the-counter medications, but they will no longer be run through the prescription plan. So are there any questions I can answer about the prescription coverage? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And again, what I'm going to do is put in the chat the phone number for the Member Service Center. So if you would like to call Member Services to find out what tier your medication is in, their number is 1-800-336-0013. And after the Zoom, if you have any additional questions or if you need a little more clarification, please feel free to send me an email. My email address is rzerna@mesa.org. And I'm happy to, assist you with any of your questions, or if you're struggling to, decide between a couple of plans, we could always schedule a time for an individual phone call, where I can help you work through, what plan might work best for your family. Are there any questions at all I can answer? Okay, well, thank you for joining me today.